wants right now.
I think that was the entire purpose of her leaking those text messages.
And now here we are on the Whatever podcast talking about this girl's messages. We're giving her everything she wants.
It's
I don't know who she is, and I don't know who she is either. So I never looked it up. It's like kind of the same thing if you guys
she
saw.
Leaked them for a reason, and we're doing exactly
the Adam Levine situation, like how Adam Levine's mistress, it was really clear that she wasn't posting about it because she felt bad that she was cheating. It was because she wanted to further her career as a social media influencer. So she decided to do that.
Sure. I mean, look, we can, ignoring the specifics of their relationship and how it was inappropriate for her to leak.
But we're reading into messages that it's a relationship we're not even
correct.
But
we don't know anything
it's the overarching point,
but the pivot is, okay, well, the discussion is what about boundaries in relationships? Is it okay for your partner to post revealing photos online? What is a boundary? What is controlling? For example, a lot of men don't want to date women who go out to bars and nightclubs. For some men, it's a boundary of, hey, I don't want to date a woman who.
Then don't.
So, but also, I think
that's exactly what but that's what Jonah Hill said to her.
But
if you want to be with a man who has these types of boundaries.
I'm under the impression
Jonah Hill
that
decided to see her Instagram and everything she posts and decide to start a relationship with her.
Sure.
Why start a relationship with a woman who even does that to begin with? There's plenty of women who don't do that. How Michaela said she has maybe a one-piece photo. He should have went and found a woman like Michaela who's not posting those things. Why try to find a partner to change them? It might be different if, I mean, not even this day and age, it wouldn't even happen, but why
because if she's posting those photos as a single woman trying to get attention, and then she's willing to stop doing that once she settles down with a man. Is there an example we can think of a woman who posts like that and then gets in a relationship and decides not to? I think there's a fine line between it, because it's like if she's only posting maybe something that's a little bit tempting and she realizes out of respect for her man now that she doesn't want to do those things, sure. But a woman who's consecutively, almost every single post that she has is thirst trappy, the odds of her getting a relationship and stopping that cold turkey, I feel like, are very rare. If anything, we see time and time again men being upset when their woman decides not to stop doing those things. Just as like if you start dating a man who's known to be very flirtatious and talk to many women, and once you guys start dating, he continues to do those things, how can you be so surprised? Like, he showed you who he is.
But okay, so I mean, your recommendation is that you're saying, the boundary should be expressed immediately. So like, let's say you're going on a first date with a girl who has bikini photos on her Instagram. Mm-hmm. Do you think you're really going to make a strong case on a first date to instantly be like, hey, I want you to take your photos down? Like, be honest.
That's what I'm saying. He shouldn't
not
be on a
going
date
to work.
with her to begin with.
You can only make that sort of play when you've built a bit more of something, a bit more of a relationship. There's no way I'm going on a first date with a girl and she's immediately going to fall into my frame of, hey, I don't appreciate you having these photos out there.
I totally
And a lot
agree.
of people have been brainwashed into like, let's just post super promiscuous photos. That's totally cool, blah, blah, blah. So
I mean, I agree that you can't bring that up on a first date or in the beginning. That's why you shouldn't date that woman at all. Like my posts, maybe some of my posts you might think is promiscuous, but they're not. I post myself. I'm a young woman, but I have, I think, maybe a bikini picture from 2018 up. I don't post like that, so my boyfriend wouldn't have to worry about it.
I agree with you on that, because I feel like if you wait until after you start a relationship with this person, you're asking them to change.
Like, how do you know they're going to do it?
Yeah, originally, I feel like you should be searching for the person. For me personally, I'm searching for the person I want to marry. And so I wouldn't ask them to immediately right off the bat change. Like, if they're posting revealing stuff, so be it, you're not the person for me kind of thing, and move on. Like, that's not the person I would be looking for.
I disagree. I think that people are absolutely willing to change for people. I think that what Brian said about boundaries, anyone who thinks that setting a boundary the moment you meet somebody and they're just going to be like, oh, okay. Like, no way. It's never going to happen. A lot of times it takes okay, put your foot down and put it in their head. And by the way, as a man who has dated women, a lot of times when you do that, the first reaction is highly emotional, highly defensive, right? Because essentially when you set a boundary, what are you telling someone? You did something wrong. Yeah. That's essentially what you're saying. And maybe it's not wrong, at least it bothered me. And a lot of times when you tell a woman that they bothered you, they immediately say that they are bothered by the fact that you were bothered. Mm-hmm. And their feelings that are hurt are now more important than your feelings that are hurt.
And another one of the big reasons why I want to talk, because I think one of the other things that you had a problem with was just the medium by which he set the boundary, right? You're like, it should have been a more just responsible, in-person, like easy conversation where you just like sat down and hashed it out.
I mean, that's things are messy though. I mean, there's always the ideal of what a conversation should look like. I just saw from the limited text messages that from both directions, it was quite off the rails.
I'll even say that
but it's also like,
with me and her, and this isn't even about like setting boundaries. It's like every once in a while, like me and her might get into like just like a heated back and forth, and then like I'll like go to the gym or something like that. I take a second, and like rather than like sitting down and being like, okay, like rather than like say something that like might get her a little upset, and then we have to deal with like being upset, why don't I just like think about what I want to say, send a text that's like exactly what I want, what I wanted to say back to her. And then she reads it, goes, oh, hearts the message. I come back, hey, we're good now? Yeah, cool. Guys will use that like written medium to just get every single thought out before you can even have the emotional reaction to interrupt him in his chain of logical thinking. That's not to say women aren't logical. You guys are still logical thinkers. But you do have a tendency to let your emotions guide the direction of the conversation. So that's one of the big reasons why guys will use this written medium to get these points across. So it comes across as like highly controlling, very odd, very robotic, but that's just him being like, you know what, I've tried to have this it might have been, I've tried to have this conversation before, she doesn't freaking listen to me, so I'm just gonna spell it out, and if she wants to go, she'll go, if she wants to stay, she'll stay. That's, as a guy, I can 100% see it.
That's
that
fair. I don't know you, but this short time that I've been sitting with you, I have a feeling that however you text your girlfriend does not look like Jonah. And
we're
the
also
text
a lot
that I
further
saw.
along in our relationship than they probably were.
So I understand what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. There's just a difference between
Raven
boundaries and
DT
control.
donated $100. When you start going from initial dating to a steady relationship, it's also typically expected, unless otherwise specified, that the relationship be monogamous. As they become more serious about one another, they should start changing their behaviors.
Yo, Raven DT, thank you very much for the TTS. And just one note really quick on this, and I'll let you continue. Yeah, I mean, prior to dating, so Jonah had no problem with her engaging in what he considered single behavior. I think even the text revealed that he had initially even liked one of her surfing bikini photos, whatever it may be. But once they started dating, he wanted her to act in a way that he thought was consistent with her being in a relationship. So what was once acceptable when she was single or at the very beginning of the relationship soon became not acceptable when he actually wanted to become serious and just see her or have the relationship develop. So, and continue on with your point.
I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm in agreement with that. What I was seeing in the text messages was Jonah Hill, instead of standing like firm in a boundary and like communicating, it just, from what I saw, looked like it was coming from a place of him